Hey guys, look, I'm just gonna get into it today. I feel so goddamn fed up today. I'm exhausted. Um, so this week I've been trying to come off pot, and I've been reducing, and I've got like a little bit left in a vape, but like, no, not much, not really enough to do much of anything. Like I'd probably finish it off tonight and barely feel anything from it. Um, but I've been having some issues. I've been having some issues sleeping and everything, and I've been. I think today it really hit me, and I've been thinking about like why I enjoy pot, why I crave it so much, why when I quit, I tend to come back to it after a while, and at the same time, I've also been feeling a lot of emotions that I was feeling before I started smoking again. Because what happened? So when coronavirus hit, I was not in a good place. And I spent a while just letting myself indulge my inner child. I was smoking pot, playing video games. My brother was here and I was visiting with him. And things were good. I was really enjoying myself. And then I started to get scared because I wasn't progressing forward really. I was enjoying myself. Life felt good. I was happy with myself, but I was scared that I would get everything taken away because I didn't have a job. Really, it was all just about money. Pot cost money. It was my only real expense other than some bills. Um, and I was just concerned about money and concerned about not having enough money. And so I quit and I was clean for about 3 months straight. Um, and, you know, it was difficult at first, but it wasn't terrible. And but after a while of me being sober, I started to realize that I still didn't feel ready to go back to work. I honestly felt traumatized from my last job at no, I shouldn't say the name of the place, but I felt traumatized. Um, it was fucking terrible. I like I had so much pressure. I was supposed to be like a manager there, and I had my girlfriend working underneath me. Um, and I had to be like the one that was in between my bosses and her, and she would not be happy with the way I would act about things, and I would not really. I you know I It was just me and her alone in a room 8 hours straight, 5 days a week. And then we come home together, and she wouldn't be happy with me, and I wouldn't always be happy with her. It was just a very stressful environment, and that's not all that happened. There was other things that happened there too. Like I kept trying to trying to advance things and clean up the place, and then my bosses would come in on my day off and just move everything around, or everything would be dirty when I would come in. I work in a kitchen, and I'm like a kitchen manager, right? So I would make sure everything's clean. I would make sure everything's in its place. I would, try and create a workflow order, and then they would come in and just kind of mess all that up. And I didn't really feel respected there. I felt like I had so much responsibility and not really anything worth working for when I was there, other than just the money, because I'm scared of not having money. Like that's a big fear of mine. If I don't have money, I feel like if I don't have an income, I feel like people are just going to come and take my things away. Maybe that reminds me of some traumas from childhood, which I might get into more later in this video, but I'm trying not to get it too spread out. I'm trying to keep my thoughts somewhat straight. Um, so yeah, let's just say it was a traumatic experience. Like I couldn't even take a day off. I couldn't even take a day off work, because if I took a day off work, everyone would take a day off work. Nobody would do any work, and they felt like they needed me there so they could run the kitchen. And so if I ever felt sick, if I ever felt too stressed, no, that they couldn't do anything without me. And the work would just pile up, and I would have to come in on the weekends and all alone and just stand there. It was repetitive work too. It was like manufacturing, so it wasn't like a restaurant. It was like manufacturing snacks, and putting them into packages and then sealing the packages. And so I would just stand there in one spot for like 8 hours straight on my weekend, and with just completely alone in the room with nothing other than some music and my thoughts, just packing bags, just packing bags, packing bags, packing bags over and over again. And that really fucking weighs on you. And there's so many other things too, so many other things with my time there. But it was just so freaking traumatic. Got a hair. Whatever. Anyway, so yeah, when I came off pot this summer, I first, it was stressful. It was hard to come off pot. It was hard to orient myself. But then I started to feel okay. And then after I started to feel okay, I started to realize, yeah, I feel okay, but I still don't feel okay in certain situations. I still don't feel okay going to the grocery store. I still don't feel okay going out on walks. In fact, I feel worse doing those things than I did when I was on pot, because the pot would help me go to the grocery store. I would not drive. Not driving high. No, not doing that. My girlfriend would drive, and then I would go in the store with her, and I'd take a little puff of my pen before I go, and it would help. Or if I would take my pen out on me with a walk, and if I got stressed on a walk, I'd take a little puff, and it would help. It would help me be outside. It would help me socialize, right? And so I still didn't feel comfortable doing those things. I was able to do them, but I didn't feel comfortable doing them. And I was willing to push myself to do them. I was willing to push myself to go to the grocery store and push myself to go on walks. But I didn't feel like it was healthy to push myself to go back to work. So, in fact, I started to realize coming off pot just how strong my PTSD really is. And that's what led me to get a diagnosis. You know, I I started during that time trying to get a diagnosis, and it took fucking months for me to get a diagnosis, cuz first, like right as I started, my insurance was expiring, so I had to go through this whole process of switching insurances, and that took like a whole month itself. And then I had to try to like work with my insurance to call a whole bunch of doctors to see which one was willing to take me as a patient. And like a whole month. It took me like a whole month to find a doctor that was willing to take me. And I finally found this one agency. Um, I don't know if I'm allowed to talk about the titles of these things. I'm going to talk about it. I'm not going to talk bad about my job. I'm not going to mention my job title because, even though it was traumatic for me, it's not a bad company. They're not bad people. I'm not mad at them. It just wasn't the right place for me. It was just traumatic for me. But this mental health place that I got signed up with, they're called Bright Heart Health. And when I first got signed on with them, I asked them, like, I told my doctor there, there's really two reasons I'm here. One, I want a diagnosis, and two, I want to try and work towards getting on disability because I don't feel like I'm fit for the workforce. I don't feel like I am emotionally stable enough to go to work every day. That is too difficult for me. It's too stressful for me to do that. And so I got diagnosed with PTSD and panic disorder and agoraphobia. And I asked them if they would help me get on disability. And when I signed up with Bright Heart Health, the doctor told me, yeah, they would help me get on disability. They could help me do that. So I went through all their jumps and hoops, I jumped through all their hoops. I went through all their programs. I filled out all their papers. They're not the most well-organized mental health place. It's a telehealth place. So I talk to them on the computer just like I do with you guys here. I don't go anywhere. But so after a month of me jumping through their hoops, and keep in mind, this is like the third month now. It took me like a whole month to get on a new insurance, a whole month to find a doctor. Then it took me like a whole month to jump through all their hoops and get registered in their system. And then when I finally did, and I had my second appointment with my doctor, I asked her about disability, and she's like, oh, we don't do that here. We can't help you with that. And I'm like, what? I was pissed. I tried my best to handle it well there in front of her because I don't like blowing up in front of people. I don't like doing that. But I was fucking pissed because they told me they could help me with that, and they weren't helping me with that. So they told me that in order for me to get help with working on disability, I have to go talk to a primary care physician. And so I went out to talk to a primary care physician, and they told me that they could help me get on temporary disability, not permanent, but temporary. And I'm like, you know what? That's good enough, because I don't know what life is going to be like a year from now. Temporary sounds good enough for me. That at least would help quell the fear of not having any income whatsoever. Um, I'm kind of blah, spewing all this stuff out. Anyway, so I jumped through his hoops and I went through his stuff, and he told me that um, I could schedule an appointment and he would call me on the day of the appointment. I didn't even have to come in. He said it would just be a phone call and we could talk about the disability thing. And so the day of the appointment, I'm waiting for a phone call and I don't get one. So I call them and I'm like, hey guys, I had a phone appointment with my doctor to talk about disability. And they're like, what? We're not supposed to talk about disability over the phone. Something in my beard. Just a white fuzzy. This little fuzzy. But yeah, they told me, oh, we're not going to talk about disability over the phone. We can't do that. You have to schedule another appointment and come in to meet them in person. So I was like, okay, when's the next appointment? And they're like, oh, it's not going to be for over a month. So I still haven't had that next appointment yet. It's on February 12th, and I've been waiting and waiting and waiting. Meanwhile, I am talking to my therapist about EMDR, starting up some EMDR to help process some of the traumas from my childhood in different ways, so that way I can, come to peace with them. And this week we were supposed to start up EMDR. I even wrote out my 10 most traumatic memories and 10 favorite memories, and I came up with a safe place, and I did all the things that she wanted me to do. And so this week I go into my appointment for therapy, and I think that we're going to start EMDR, but we can't start it. Apparently we can't start it till like March or something. And dude, that's like a month away. And all these things, every time I fucking work through something, every time I fucking jump through these people's hoops and get to a point where I think I'm going to get the help that they promised me, they tell me, oh, you gotta wait another fucking month. And it's pissing me the fuck off. I'm cussing like crazy in this one. I don't care. I don't care I'm cussing like crazy. I am mad. I'm goddamn mad. I feel like I'm being lied to and walked upon and manipulated, and it's fucking insane. And you know what? Like I said, I was clean off pot for 3 months. For 3 fucking months straight, and I was so proud of myself. Did it feel great? No, it did not. Was I happy with everything? No, I was not, but I was doing it. But you know what broke me? What really made me start to want to smoke again? It was this stress. This stress of trying to push forward with something that is extremely important, my mental health. Push forward and get help for my mental health. But I was pushing forward for like 2 months straight without getting any help whatsoever. And I broke down and started smoking pot again because it was too stressful for me. And I'm honestly looking back, I'm glad I did that, because when I was sober, I can recognize that I was reacting. I was reacting solely. I was feeling scared of not having enough money, and so I was reacting and I was pushing myself forward, right? So I started smoking pot over that time, and I relaxed. I let myself enjoy walks, play my games. I I am writing this story on my computer, and I spent a lot of time writing my story, I even started this YouTube channel. I did a lot of positive things while I was on pot. And that was stuff I was not doing when I was sober. Excuse me, I burped. I was not doing that sober. I was just frustrated and triggered and angry like all the time, and I was searching for mental help. I was really trying to get some fucking mental help, and nobody was helping. And so that's what made me want to go back on pot, right? And so, like I said, this week rolls around, that thing happens with my therapist where the EMDR gets pushed back. And I've also got group therapy. And so I went to my group therapy and I started to tell them that I was coming off pot and I was having trouble sleeping. And my doctor's like, oh, well, there's this medication which helps with the withdrawals. And I'm like, oh, well, that sounds interesting. Can you tell me more about it? And she's like, oh, I'll put in an order for you. You just gotta pick it up. Gotta go pick it up. So I went to pick it up yesterday, and it's called GABA Neurontin. It's called Neurontin. That's the other word for it. Gabapentin or something, I think is the name I have, but it's also called Neurontin. And I was a little sketched out. I'm like, I don't really trust medications as much as I do marijuana. Marijuana is a bit more natural. So let me look into this medication before I take it. And it turns out it actually has a pretty addictive quality to it. And 15% of the people who get prescribed this medication end up abusing it. And they say that percentage is higher when the patient has a history of abusing opioids. And guess what? I have a history of abusing opioids. So I started to think, like, why the fuck would my doctor prescribe this to me? She knows my history. She knows I have a history of abusing opioids. And I think everyone knows that marijuana is safer than opioids. I think everyone knows that. So why? Why would she fucking give me this goddamn medication that could be far worse for me? I don't understand that. Just to help with the pot withdrawals. And so today I am feeling a bit angry, and I'm recognizing that my anger is not coming. I mean, yeah, okay. I'm not gonna lie. I'm not gonna say that my anger is not coming from the pot withdrawals at all. It probably is. And I'm not even fully sober yet. And I'll admit that. I still am smoking on my vape pen a little bit, but it's really mild compared to actual pot. Um, and yeah, I do admit that some of my foggy headedness, my lack of motivation, my frustration, these things, there is some of it coming from the marijuana withdrawals. But I also know that not all of it is coming from the marijuana withdrawals, because these are the reasons, these stressors that I have in my mind right now that are popping up and like resurfacing. These are the reasons that I started smoking again in the first place. Pot is not the problem. The problem is that I can't get any goddamn help, and I don't know how. The mental health system in the United States is fucking terrible. Like, I for it's February now. It's February, and I have been trying to get mental help, trying to get help with finding some sort of stability in my life since October. Like October, November, December, January, February. That's 5 months straight I have been trying to get help. And nobody's helping. They keep telling me that they're helping, but they're not actually helping. They promise me, oh, we'll help you get disability, and then I wait a month to find out they can't do that. They tell me, oh, we're going to help you with some EMDR, and then my appointments get pushed back and pushed back and pushed back and misscheduled, and that's not my fault. That's not my fault. Like I said, Bright Heart Health is not that organized. So my appointments kept getting pushed back and mixed up, and then I finally do get this appointment where I've done everything she's told me to do. I've looked into EMDR, I've filled out all the paperwork, I've gone through all the steps that she needs me to do, and I'm still told that I'm not able to start it for another month. Why? Why? And I'm confused. I'm confused and I'm stressed. I'm tired. And I'm starting to realize why I crave pot so much, why I crave marijuana. And I think it's like hair for a teenager. You grow up and your parents control everything. And then you get to a point where you want to have some control over your life and what you do and what direction your life is moving in. But you're not old enough to do that yet. So you cut your hair, you dye your hair, like teenagers do. I think that's what marijuana is for me. because I don't feel like I have the power to change my life, even though I've been trying my goddamn hardest. I I feel so beaten down and exhausted. And marijuana is that one thing I can control, you know? I can't control the fact that most of my friends and loved ones left and that I'm here. I can't control that this is the only place that really has a space for me with my dad. I can't control that I have these trauma responses when I try to go to work where I feel so shaky and I have to go to my car and cry every day. I can't control these things. I can do my best to work on them and work through them and accept them, but I can't control these things. And I can't control the fact that, I mean, I went to college when I was younger, and now I've got college bills, and I can't control the fact that I've got bills I have to pay. I can't control any of this stuff. And the one thing I can control is my marijuana consumption. If I'm not consuming marijuana and if I'm sober and I get to a point where I am trying to change things, trying to move my life forward, like I was earlier this year, and I don't feel like I'm able to do that, that's when those cravings come back. That's when I crave marijuana. Because nothing I'm doing is making any difference. And I need to feel like, I want to feel like something I do actually matters. You know? Something I do actually changes things. And because I can easily just go to the store, get some pot, come home and smoke it. That's easy. That after months and months and months of just banging your head against the wall, trying to jump through everybody's hoops, everybody's programs to get the things that they promised you they would give, the things that they promised they would give you if you jumped through all their hoops and programs, only to hit more brick walls and being told that no, we can't give you any of that. It's like, dude, I just spent 5 months trying, and you're telling me you can't help me at all? You're telling me, you guys, that the entire reason I started this with you guys, the entire reason I came to get a diagnosis, the entire reason that I came to ask for help, you guys can't help me? Really? And it's the same thing here. Like I said, I was feeling stuck back there, and so I started using pot again because it's something I could control, something I could change. And now I'm feeling stuck now, and so I'm trying to come off pot. Not because I really want to be off pot, not because I feel like it's hindering my life in any really significant way. I actually feel like it's helping me be productive, helping me do things that have value. Like I make these YouTube videos. I started doing this when I was on pot. I had the idea way back when. But you know what? I didn't get the motivation to do it till I smoked. So what? So what if I smoke pot? I don't know. I don't know. Maybe I'm making excuses. I don't know what's going on. I'm tired. Thought this stuff is important though. I just wanted to make a video to talk about this shit because first off, the mental health system in the United States is terrible. It's taken me 5 months and I've gotten no help. I just want to say that. No help. Yeah, I might be able to go to group therapy meetings now. They don't help. They don't really help. It's more like something I just got to do. You know, I show up and I kind of check in with the doctor, but the group therapy doesn't feel like it helps. And yeah, I'm able to go to individual therapy meetings now, but she told me we're going to practice EMDR. And we're going to do some EMDR therapy, and we're not doing that. And I just don't feel like I've gotten any of the help that anybody's promised, that I've been working so hard to try and get. And I don't know how to help myself. I'm tired. I'm so tired. I'm so tired and confused. I don't know how to help myself. I'm 24 and I know that's young, but god damn, I've been trying to figure these things out for 24 years straight. The pot is nice because it gives me a little break where, well, I don't have to figure it out all right away. And maybe I'm tired, maybe I'm just. But yeah, first, the mental health system in the United States sucks. Second, I recognize that the reason I crave marijuana is because I. There's my computer. I realized the reason I crave marijuana is because I crave to feel like I have some sort of effect on my life, and I don't feel that way. You know, I grew up in a household where my sister left. She just left one day and didn't come back. I was raped and had my virginity taken away from me at like the age of like 3. My grandma was sick and I had to spend my whole time taking care of her. My mom left and she took my dog. My best friends have left. My brother left. And now my ability to work feels like it's gone. My ability to work and be content feels like it's gone. And instead of that contentment, it just feels replaced with trauma. These memories of these trauma, and my body just wants to cry every time I go to work. Every time. Mental health system in the US sucks. And I crave marijuana because I want to feel like I have control over my life in some degree, even if it's just a little bit. And those are my important realizations of the day. Those are what I came to talk about in this YouTube video. Maybe I need to shut it down now. My head feels numb. I don't know. I don't know if I should come off pot or not right now. Part of me feels like I should. Part of me feels like I want to. Because I want to feel more grounded in everyday life. I want to feel like I can connect more with my girlfriend. Those are my main reasons that I would want to come off pot. I want to feel more grounded and I want to feel more connected to the people around me. Then part of me feels like it's not time for me to come off pot yet, because when I start to come off pot, there are all of these things that I just feel so upset about that come to the surface. This lack of control in my life. Like, I was trying to just sit outside in the sunshine with my girlfriend today, and where I live, you hear trucks backing up, you hear people hammering, you hear saws, you hear music in cars driving by, you hear helicopters from the hospital, you hear sirens, you hear all of it. And I can barely hear the birds. I can barely hear the thoughts in my own head because my neighborhood is so noisy, and that's just one more thing I can't control. And the pot helps me be okay with that. Helps me relax into it. Relax into the fact that I am stuck in a place which drives me crazy. Feels like hell. And I don't always feel like hell. I don't always feel like hell. You know, I say that the pot helps me, but it helps me in a weird way. You know, like I'm not just smoking all day long. I only smoke after like 3:30 or 4 o'clock. But the whole day up until then, I'm productive. I'm going on walks outside. I'm doing dishes. I'm cooking dinner for people. I'm working on YouTube videos. I'm writing my stories. I don't even touch pot or think about it until like 3:30, 4 o'clock. And then I relax. I play my game. I eat dinner with my girlfriend, watch some TV. And it's a nice reward. It's a nice, I don't know. Maybe I'm just justifying myself. Maybe I'm looking for justification as to why I use pot. Or maybe I should stop double thinking myself and just accept what I've realized. Accept that I've realized I feel like I don't have any control over my life. And I feel like I've been asking for help for so long. I mean, I've been asking for it for 5 months straight recently, but I'm 24 years old and I've been asking for help my whole life. And I don't feel like I've ever gotten that help. And I don't know what to do. I'm not suicidal, but I don't want to live in this world. I don't want to live in a world like this. And part of me refuses to. Part of me refuses to give in to their ways, give in to these ways of just being scared all the time. I don't want to be scared all the time. I don't want to be having to constantly prove myself. I don't even know what I'm saying. Maybe that's all for this video today. In case you guys are wondering what this stuff is, it's warts. I have wart medication on my hand. I feel like it's disgusting that I have this many warts. But see, that's another thing. There's another thing, dude. I've had warts on my hand because I went to one job and where I worked in a kitchen and I touched somebody else's knife and I got warts on my hand. And that sucked. It was just started out as one wart and I tried my best to treat it. I tried my best and it kept spreading. And I went to the doctor and asked for help. Hey, can you help me remove these warts? And he'd spray it every once in a while. And at this point, it's been like 5 years. I've had these warts for like 5 years now. And they're there every day and I treat them every day. And, that's just like another thing that I feel like every day I work on this to try and treat these and help them get better, but they don't get better. Nothing I do helps them. And so I went to the doctor and I said, Doctor, I think I have a problem. I think maybe my immune system isn't good enough because why aren't these going away? Even when I treat them, they're not going away. And maybe we could be a little more aggressive with them. And the doctor just told me, don't worry about it. It's normal. But it bothers me. It bothers me. I don't want to be the wart guy. I don't want to have to be afraid of shaking people's hands because I might give them warts. And so I asked him for help, but he just said, don't worry about it. I don't understand what the problem is. There's some sort of problem in the medical system in the United States. They don't want to actually help you. And it drives me crazy. It makes me feel so depressed. Because some of these things I don't know how to help myself with. I don't know how to fix this. I've tried duct tape, I've tried freeze sprays, I've tried heat, I've tried acid. I don't know how to fix this. Just like I don't know how to fix this. There's traumas in here that they're just like my warts. I feel like this is so symbolic of what's going on in my head. In fact, there's probably some sort of spiritual connection. I don't know. But I don't know how to fix this. I don't know how to fix the fact that going to work makes me cry and cry and cry. I don't know how to fix the fact that this neighborhood I live in is so noisy. And the only thing that could get me to escape from it, the only thing that would help me get away, would be to have an income. But I can't work, so I can't get an income. And so I try and get disability because I can't work, but I can't get the disability because the doctors don't want to help. And all right, you know what? I'm done. I've ranted enough for this video. I'll come back and do another video in another day or two, and I'll try and bring some positive stuff into that one because I'm not just a downer all the time. But today I am mad, and I'm done. I hope you guys have a great week. I hope it's one of I don't know. Part of me hopes that you guys can relate to this, but part of me doesn't. I don't want you guys to be going through this shit too. It's so goddamn bad. It's so goddamn stressful. Well, hope you guys have a good week. Bye.